Hello and welcome. Today we are looking at the global drone GW198 drone. This drone has full GPS, brushless motors, 5G Wi-Fi FPV streaming with an HD wide-angle lens camera, waypoints, follow me, and plenty of automated features such as auto takeoff and auto land. So let's check it out. Now the drone comes in this cool rectangular black box here, and as you can see, it's from Global Drone. It's for ages 14 plus, and it has GPS positioning, 5G Wi-Fi, follow me, surround, HD camera, and trajectory flight, which is basically waypoints. And right here at the top, you can see it says brushless drone. And here on the side, you see an image of the controller with the mobile device. Here on the side, you can see there are 4 different models. There are 2 models that have the 5G Wi-Fi, which are in 720p and 1080p. And then there are 2 5.8 gigahertz models, which I presume come with a screen. And they have those in 720p and 1080p. But this model right here is the 5G Wi-Fi with 720p. And right here in the back, you can see a forward view of the drone and a listing of all its features, such as independent ESCs, one key return or return to home, GPS fixed point, so on and so forth. So pretty cool. And let's see the bottom here, what we have. Just some warning and notices. And as you can see, this is model 198. So this is the GW198 model. And pretty cool. So let's start opening her up right here. So I'll just open these latches here. Open her up like this. And now let's remove the styrofoam here. Right away we can see the transmitter there at the bottom. Put this aside. So here's this styrofoam section here. So right away we see the drone. And this looks like its mobile device clip. This is the charger. It's a battery charger. Here's its battery. And right at the bottom, let's remove this. You can see there's a transmitter there. So let's remove all these items first. Right here. And we've got the charger and the mobile clip. And then right here at the bottom, we have its transmitter. Very nice. And we have here a little bag with spare propellers and a screwdriver. And they're labeled, so that's pretty cool. So that's essentially it. Let's organize this and have one last look at the contents. Now, taking a last look at the contents of the box, we have the drone itself. It's 7.4 volt, 2000 milliamp LiPo battery. It's spare propellers, a screwdriver, a mobile device clip, the charger for the battery, the transmitter, and the instruction manuals and brochures. So that's essentially the contents of the box. Now let's take a closer look at the drone. Taking a closer look at the drone, this is a very sharp, cool looking drone here. It kind of resembles a little bit the Bugs 2 or Bugs 3 in a way, with these bright red eyes here and you know, bug or creature type look to it. As you can see, it has bright, big, colorful lights there, so very good for either night flying or orientation. And it does have brushless motors, as you can see here. And the propellers are a little on the small side. I believe these are the same kind of propellers that you would find, let's say, on the Xinlin CG035. And they have these end tips right there that you just screw on. Right here you could see the GPS antenna sticking out there from the top. That's pretty cool. Right here at the bottom is its detachable Wi-Fi HD camera. Now this model has a 720p wide angle lens, but there also is a 1080p model. And as you can see on the sides there, it has its Wi-Fi antennas, but there is also a 5.8 gigahertz FPV version that you can use Fat Sharks with, but this one is the 5G Wi-Fi model. Going over the battery a little bit, it has a 2000 milliamp 7.4 volt battery right here, and with the included charger, this does take about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes to charge, and you get about a 15-minute flight time with it, which is pretty good. If you use a hobby grade charger, you probably can charge this in a lot less time. So now another neat detail about the battery, you can use either the Bugs 3 or Bugs 2 batteries with this, provided that you either tape it or put a little rubber band around it. So right here I have the MJX RC Bugs 3 battery. So as you can see, it slides in perfectly, and you could connect it and it works just fine. But you may need like a little bit of tape or a rubber band to make sure that it's in place. Now it actually holds in very well without doing anything. It stays put, it doesn't swivel around in there, but you may want to, you know, add a little extra protection in there to make sure that it doesn't fall out. So yeah, that works fine with the Bugs 3 battery. And here is the Bugs 2 battery that is about the same thing, but a little bit more modified. It has this plastic cap at the end, but even with that, it still slides in and fits and connects perfectly, as you can see here. You just slide it in and it turns on. But if you'll notice, there's still a little bit of a gap in there, so you still may want either a piece of tape or a rubber band or something to make sure that it stays locked in there. But otherwise, they can work with this quadcopter, so that's a plus. If you've got a Bugs 3 or a Bugs 2, you can use the batteries with this. And I believe this standard connector, there's probably other types of hobby batteries that you can also fit in there, and as long as you have a form of tape or a rubber band that you can wedge that in there, you can use a whole bunch of different other type of hobby grade batteries. So that's just a little detail there with the battery. And looking a little bit at the camera here, it is detachable. So if you push this button right here, you can detach the camera and possibly put in a mount. Let's take a look at that. So if you slide off the camera, you'll notice that it's attached there. This is for the to power it on and to provide instructions to it. So if you simply disconnect this part, if you disconnect that, you'll notice it kind of has an area here where you can possibly put a mount on there. So you could possibly put some sort of a GoPro mount on there or something to that effect. I'm not sure if this works really well with the Bugs 3 mounts, but I'm sure perhaps there are some that fit in here, because this is a little on the narrow side. But if you can find one that works with this, you could put a plastic mount there and put some sort of a GoPro or thing like that. So that's pretty cool, and you've got a couple of connections there to also connect your external camera or whatnot. And right here is the battery lock, so you can lock in the battery once you slide it in. As you can see, there's an ample amount of room in there for the battery. And taking a closer look at the camera here, now that it's detached, This is not a tiltable camera, unfortunately, so at whatever angle it's installed at, it's fixed at that angle. But right here on the sides, you can see their antennas. They're 5G Wi-Fi antennas. Right here in the back, it does take an SD card right there, so you can record onboard footage, which is usually a lot higher frame rate and better quality than when you stream it to your mobile device. And here is its power connector, and so a really neat camera there. So let's put that at the bottom here once again. So overall, a good build quality. It has a good weight to it. I'd say maybe a little even on the light side for the amount of features that it has. So it's very compact and lightweight. And I believe it only comes in black, so there are no other additional colors to this, like white or anything like that. But just a very neat, cool looking quadcopter. And so now let's take a closer look at its transmitter. Now, taking a closer look at the transmitter, it does come with a very nice RC transmitter here, which is has a good size and is very comfortable. This transmitter does take 4 AA batteries, as you can see here, 4 AA batteries. And it does require a little screw there to put that on. But going back to the controls here, you have your basic left throttle stick and right rudder stick. And these joysticks are not buttons, so they're just the joysticks. Right here you have several what appear to be trim buttons, but most of them are actually disabled and you can't push them. They're just wedged in there. Now in the instruction manuals it says that if you got the double GPS version, in other words the version that has a GPS module in the transmitter, these buttons here would be for the follow me, and these buttons here would be for the orbit or surround, where it just orbits around you or around the transmitter. But in this version they're just wedged in there. They're really not usable, and neither are these. So there doesn't appear to be any trim buttons. These two buttons do seem to work. This is the auto takeoff button and the auto land button. And here in the center is your on-off switch, as you can see here. And right here there's a button on the upper left where you can turn on and off the GPS of the quadcopter in case you want to fly manually without GPS. This button right here is for headless mode. Here on the right we have the video key, which is to push that to take video, push it again to stop. This one right here is the photo button. And then right here on the upper left, this is your rates key, and you have 3 rates of speed. So push it once for 1 beep for the slowest rate, and up to 3 beeps for the highest speed. And then right here on the upper right, this button here is the return to home button, or the 1 key return. So you push that, assuming you had a good GPS lock from where you took off, and it will return to that takeoff zone. So that's essentially it. There are no flip buttons, and apparently there are no trim buttons or anything to that effect. Now it does have an LCD screen right here with some decent telemetry. So we can kind of look at it here. Right now, since we just turned it on, everything's just activated, but basically you have your battery voltage of both the transmitter and the drone. You have a little indicator there whether GPS is on or off. You have a signal indicator there whether you're out of range or not. Here you have a number of satellites display. Here's a little icon letting you know if you're in headless mode or not. Here is the relative orientation of the drone depicted there. Here are little icons for video and picture. Whether you push the video key or picture key, it'll let you know if you're either recording or you've taken a picture. You have some telemetry here at the bottom of your whether you have a certain speed or height or distance. And some of these icons show you your rates of speed here, if you're going at high rate or low rate. And then here's your mode. And then here are some other status indicator icons right there on the right. So pretty good transmitter. This display is not backlit, so you can only see it in light. But very comfortable, very nice little RC transmitter with a handle here at the top. And it does have a mobile device clip, which is very easy to install. Right here, you just put this right on top of the antenna, right there. And then you just push it down. And once it snaps in, right there you have it. And then you can just pinch it open and put your mobile device, your cell phone. This won't hold a big tablet or anything like that, but it can hold a substantial sized cell phone. So really good transmitter. Now let's take a look at the app and setting this up for a first time flight. So setting up the quadcopter for its first flight and also looking at the app. Once you have fully charged batteries, the first step is to insert the battery all the way into the quadcopter. Since there's no on and off switch or button on the quadcopter, it will immediately activate once the battery is fully inserted. While it's beeping and flashing, you quickly want to turn on the transmitter so that it automatically binds, since it's already bound out of the factory. And also you want to lock in place your battery to make sure that it doesn't come out. So first we will just slide in the battery, and then we will turn on the transmitter. And you'll see that the red light on the transmitter is solid, and the LCD display is only showing the pertinent information of the drone. And the battery is also fully inserted in the quadcopter. You want to make sure you lock it in place. So there's a little switch here at the bottom to lock it. So right now it's locked in place. The transmitter's bound. At that point, we have a couple of calibrations we can perform. One is the gyro calibrations, and the other one is the GPS compass calibration. So to do the gyro calibration is very simple. You move the left stick to the upper left corner and the right stick to the lower right corner for a few seconds, and then you'll notice some quick blinks and right there. And so right there, that quick set of blinks calibrated the gyros. Now you want to calibrate the compass. And to do that, you move the left stick to the lower left and the right stick to the upper right. And you'll notice some rapid blinking. At that point, we will rotate the quadcopter 3 times clockwise. And then we will face it down and also rotate it 3 times clockwise. So let's move both of them in those directions. There we go. Now we have the quick blinking. So first, we spin it 3 times on its horizontal axis, like this. And then at that point, you face it down. Once it's facing down, you would rotate it 3 times clockwise on its vertical axis, like so. And once that's done, you place it down and just wait for the lights to go solid, indicating that you have a full GPS lock. And while you're waiting for that to happen, we can go ahead and connect to its app. So let's take a close look at the app. Now, prior to entering the app, you want to make sure you enter your mobile device's Wi-Fi settings and look for this entry, Wi-Fi 720p GPS, and you want to connect to that. Now it could be that perhaps the 1080p model of this might have it say Wi-Fi 1080p, but in any case, you look for the drone's Wi-Fi and connect to that. And initially there is no default Wi-Fi password or anything like that. So once you've been connected, you look for this app, or you launch this app, which is called LWFPV. LWFPV in either the Android or iOS app stores. And it has that icon. And so you would launch that. And you will be greeted with this intro screen here. At that point, you would click start. Now, as you can see, we have a live feed with the quadcopter right here. And considering that this is 5G Wi-Fi, this does have a good control range and FPV range of about 100 to 200 meters. So that's pretty good. So now taking a closer look at the app, this icon here on the upper left corner is to return back to the home screen. Right up here we have various telemetry such as altitude, distance, speed, number of satellites. And this telemetry coincides with the LCD display that's on the transmitter here, as you can see. So if you don't fly this with the Wi-Fi FPV app, you can still receive the same telemetry on the transmitter. You also have here roll, pitch, and yaw telemetry. You also can see the battery voltage there on the quadcopter and the signal strength. Right here on the left, this first icon is for special modes. This one right here is for waypoints, for follow me, and for orbit mode or surround. And so if you do waypoints, you have your controls there on the right. You have a little pen there where you can draw your waypoints on the map. And if you submit those waypoints, the aircraft will fly those waypoints. And you can also remove waypoints with this little icon there in the center. You also have the follow me and the orbit mode. And if you change to orbit mode, these controls here on the right change accordingly. Going back here to the FPV display, we have the virtual controls here with this second icon. So you have your left throttle stick and right rudder stick. So you can fly this aircraft just using the cell phone, and you don't need the transmitter if desired. And then right here is your return to home icon. This icon will unlock the motors so you can fly it with the app. And this is your auto takeoff icon. Right here on the right, this is your VR button. So you can split the screen to see this in FPV goggles for mobile devices. Here's your picture button, here's your video button, and here's your gallery, so you can view all your videos and pictures that you've taken. And right up here you have various settings, such as changing the joystick mode, performing certain calibrations, so on and so forth. We have parameter settings, so you can set the maximum altitude of return to home, the waypoint maximum height, so on and so forth. Here are some map settings to either view satellite images or just regular maps. And then right here you have just the quality of the preview settings. And that's essentially it right there. You can view either map mode here, or you can view the FPV mode in this picture-in-picture display. And that's essentially it for the app. So overall, a good, thorough package and a fast flyer. So let's take her up for a spin and see how she performs.